You're listening to Beyond the Campaign, and this is episode number 12. Welcome to Beyond the Campaign. I'm your host, Michelle Glogovac, podcast publicist, author, and host of this show and Read the Damn Book. Here, you're going to learn from political candidates and from politicians. We're not just going to talk about the issues. We're going to talk about the human beings who are investing themselves in us so that we can invest ourselves in them. This is Beyond the Campaign. Hey friends, welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Michelle Glogovac, and today it's good news. I have Ariella Elm with me, who is a political influencer and journalist, and she focuses on the good news, something that we all need to pay more attention to because little bits of good news pile up and make really good news. She's breaking down how she got involved in this, why she focuses on the good news, and there's a lesson about the different social media accounts that our politicians have. So definitely stay tuned for that part because you are going to get an education on it. Good morning, my friend.
Hi.
It's so nice to see you and not be in a signal chat.
I know, you have a face.
Yes, and we have voices. And can you introduce yourself to everyone, please?
Hi, my name is Ariella. I am a political influencer journalist person, and I try to keep you from dooming and glooming.
But how do you do that when you're a political influencer?
Because I find the good things, I find what's happening that's helpful and working and that we're making a difference with. It's a lot of work. Because most of the social media tries to suppress the stuff that's good and going well. Um, but I follow a lot of local publications all over the country. And I have people send me things, and so I find the positives that are happening. And I try to share them with people, especially small positives, because everyone's seeing like the lawsuits and the rulings. And so I try to find things that are a lot more localized, so that people realize, especially things that like are the difference. One person did one thing and made a difference. And that's a big part of what I do. And so yeah, I want people to see that like it's our power and we can say the world is over or we can do something about it.
How long have you been doing this? Did this just start with this recent election, or has it been many, many years since that first election?
I mean, I've been doing it for a long time, but not successfully. So like when I was first on, I started on TikTok in 2020, before the election. And I wasn't really a political influencer. I originally started as leftist lifestyle, I guess, focused on uh like television shows and kids television shows and queer aspects of kids television shows that should have been there but weren't explicit. So I had a series called How to Add Queer Rep to a Kids Show. And so I'd find clips from, I started with Magic School Bus, and I'd find clips and I'd show if they just added a blush here, a handhold here, or whatever. And so it was a while before I actually officially got into the political world. I mean, I showed different debates when it was Mike Pence, and I talked about how you're saying that the voting should stop. Like, why is the voting so slow? Because they're doing it right, and it's not the counting. And so I did stuff like that. And then I don't exactly remember when I started, but I think the first real political thing that made a difference was Joanna McClinton, who is now the Speaker of the Pennsylvania House, was on the House floor at 11 p.m. at night. Republicans had tried to sneak in an anti-abortion, I think, restriction into the budget at 11 p.m. And so she got on the House floor and was incredibly powerful. And I saw it on Twitter when Twitter was a reputable thing to be on. And I realized, I was like, oh, this post doesn't have, it was a really successful creator. I can't think of what his name is right now, but he had posted he got like 40,000 views. And I'm like, oh, well, that's something I could post. And so I posted my own clip on TikTok and I got over 1 million views. And I got Joanna McClinton's attention. The next night, she was on MSNBC. And then she became Speaker of the House. And I do think I had something to do with that, that I gave her the platform to be able to get that attention. She went from having like 10,000 followers, I think, on each platform to about one of them was like 100,000, one of them was 90,000, one of them was 75,000 because of my post. And so I have always kind of done this. We need to focus more on pay attention more to what's happening and pay attention to what's happening at the local level. I also covered in Oklahoma, McCurtain County. There was a horrible thing that happened with the sheriff. The sheriff and his cronies were incredibly racist and threatening towards a journalist. And I was the first national news to cover that. Not that I'm exactly national, but I was the first outside of Oklahoma to cover that. I covered it within like 3 hours, and then all the other publications got a hold of it. I covered, oh, what is their name? Maury Turner, who was in Oklahoma, wasn't non-binary Muslim representative, and they were censured. They were censured just the uh like Zoe Zephyr and the Tennessee Three, but no one had paid attention to it. No one knew it was happening. So I kept posting about it and posting about it and posting about it. And finally, Simone Sanders Townsend had them on their show months later. And so I was able to bring attention to things that weren't getting attention before, but it was kind of a one and done thing. I'd make a post and then it would never go viral again. I covered in New Bern, Alabama, the now mayor finally officially elected, a Black man who was basically locked out of the town council building because the white mayor, who had never been elected because it was just passed on from white man to white man to white man, um, was finally elected a few weeks ago, officially with a opponent and everything. Um, and so I covered all these stories, and some of them got traction and some of them didn't. And so, yes, I've been doing this since 2020, but the first time it really has been long lasting and people have actually wanted to hear good news and positives and what's happening is now. I mean, I started doing this a week after the election happened. I had covered, I think I don't entirely remember how it started, but it was something along the lines of I was like, why does no one care about what Democrats are doing? Why does no one care that they're fighting and they're not paying attention to that? And I was like, well, because no one's seeing it. So why don't I make sure they see it? And this was born.
And what is driving you to continue doing this every single day? Because this is a lot. I mean, I talked to Aaron Parnas a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, how do you survive? Like mentally, you're consuming so much. And yes, I know that things are being sent to you, but it's a constant flood. You're trying to swim in it and push it out and create content. It's a lot of work. I think
Yeah.
people who just scroll and don't purposely create don't understand how much work goes into creating content. Even if it's simply, here's the news and I'm reporting on it, it's a ton of work. So, what drives you to continue doing this and not even burn out on it?
Well, the big thing is that most of my time is spent researching because I am of the mind that I don't care if there's an article about it. If I can't find the original source, I'm not posting it. And that goes for like members of Congress whose staffers I have on my phone. Like if they don't send me the press release or the full video, I'm not posting it. If I don't have enough info to give the full story, it's not going to go on my account because I think that it's so important in this day and age to have all the information possible. So like when I post 3 wins today, which is my series with all of the local wins or 3 wins per day, um, at the end on social media, I have like sources at the bottom. So it will have the post and then it will be sources next. And I will have all of the pages that I use to come up with that post, and to find the info for that post. And that's something I think that really sets me apart from other political journalists. It's how focused I am on sourcing and on research. And so for me, I do less of the constantly scrolling and knowing everything. And that's another thing that's really nice about doing positive stories. Um, I don't have to worry about all the doom and gloom and the world is over stuff, because that's not where my lane is. And so I'm able to let that be someone else's lane and not put all my energy and focus into it. And instead, I spend most of my time finding what's good, finding how people are doing the right thing. Um, like for instance, today I'll be posting that Alyssa Slotkin posted um, a screenshot of one of her constituents' letters that they got from their from their healthcare insurance company, because she's trying to get her constituents to get Michiganders to send her the letters so that she can show what they look like. And I think that's just so cool. I think that's so important. I'm trying to get my audience to send letters to their members of Congress. And so I'm hoping that by posting this piece of that, I will be able to get them to do so. So my focus is, how will this change someone's perspective? So whether I'm trying to get someone to just do something, to just find a way that they can be impactful in this world, or whether I'm trying to get them to stop saying that Democrats are doing nothing, or I don't see this being done, or why I love the strongly worded letters, which I think are one of the most important things our members are doing. But to explain that and to really break that down takes a lot of effort. And so I make sure that that I'm always posting something that has an answer to a question, whether it's a question that I literally asked on the post, which I've started doing with Daily Dems, or if it's a question that I constantly see, or a critique that I constantly see that I need to call out. And oftentimes, I mean, there are hundreds of people who have changed their perspective because of my content and because of what I'm doing. And so I'm really lucky that I'm not doing what Aaron's doing. I mean, I admire Aaron so much, and I know details about how he does it, and how he's able to do it, and how draining it is. And I'm really grateful that I'm not doing that, that I don't work every day. I take Saturdays off, and I've made a very clear boundary for myself that I do not make videos on Saturdays. Um, and so I think that it's easier for me because I'm not doing that. And so I've created a niche that doesn't drain me in the same way that it would if I was focusing on the destruction and the bad news.
I love that. I love the uniqueness to it because there are so many different influencers. And it's, for those who are thinking about, maybe I want to do this, or there's a lot of the copy and paste people, and, I'll just mimic exactly what you're doing. But I think it's so important to recognize as yourself of what you want to do, what you're good at doing. Your positive news, Aaron's breaking news. It's like oh dear God, here's Aaron again. Got to watch it. Whereas I feel like my job is not breaking news at all. I want people to know, especially white women that are moms, that you can do all of regular life. You can make dinner, have it on the table, still go to work, and still speak up and fight for the rights of other people. And so that's where my lane is, and whatever that means. But, that I'm just an average person,
Yeah.
and I'm doing what I can in the podcast world.
I'll also
So
say that sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'll say that I'm disabled. And so I'm, I do most of my work from my bed. I I was going to protest. I hope I can go back, but my body is not happy, walking around holding a sign. Um, and I'm not able to go to town halls, and I'm not able to do the things that you expect of someone who is working in politics. I mean, most of my meetings are on Zoom. I'm not in DC. I've been invited, but I can't fly right now. And so I think part of it is showing both what other people are doing with the posts that I'm making, but also how I'm doing it. The fact that I'm still able to be as active as I am even though I'm disabled, because people are under the impression of like, oh, if I can't do this one thing, I shouldn't do anything at all. And that's so untrue. And so I think that it's like I always, whenever I do the protest post like that I will be doing probably like today or tomorrow, that's like, are you going to the comment with if you're going to the protest? If not, here are some things you can do. If you have a car and you can drive around the block. If honking, that's so important. If you can't get out of bed, then just promote the publications that are talking about these protests. We need them to be front and center because that's the whole point. We're doing this to get attention. And so I try to get people to understand that, like, even if you can't get out of bed, even if you're lying down, there are still things you can do to make an impact. And I think that's very similar to what you were saying in terms of trying to get moms to realize that even if you don't have time, you still have time.
I love that. I love that so much. It's so important for people to understand that it doesn't have to be some huge display or action that you're taking, showing up, whether it's in bed, online, or in a video, whatever it is, it makes the difference. And it's that small step to really use your voice for the better and the good and the change.
And one of the big reasons that I do the anti-doomerism content that I do, I have my tagline, I guess, is fight from a place of hope rather than catatonic fear. Because when you fight from a place of catatonic fear, you're much less likely to be fighting in a way that is impactful and empowering and can make the impact you want to make. When you fight from a place of hope, you think it can get better. You have things you're fighting for rather than just fighting against. And I think that's an incredibly important thing that is much less respected in the political world right now, especially on the left, that people want to fight from a place of fear and they want others to fight from a place of fear, partially because it gets them views. Um, and it makes them successful. And so I know I'm not going to have the kind of views that other people have. I know that I will never be making the same amount of money as some of the creators that are my friends and that I admire because I do not do that kind of content. I don't want to scare people. I want them to feel like, okay, I can get through today. I can breathe. I can get through today. I'm okay. Especially on like really bad days when there's like 12 stories or something that are all terrible. I tend to make a post saying, okay, things suck right now. Comment with one moment of joy you've had today. It doesn't have to be big. It can be, I got out of bed. It can be, the weather was nice. It can be, I saw my kid. It can be, my cat did this really cool thing. But comment with something personal that brings you joy. And every time I do that, I get people commenting back saying, I don't have anything today, but reading these comments is what brought me joy today.
Mm.
And so I find that it's incredibly important to give people that ability to fight from hope. And I think sadly, that's something that sets me apart. I don't want that to be something that sets me apart. I want other people to be doing the same thing. And there is some of that. I know that the Courier has started doing a good news post. Six of my friends, including Tanto Latino, Sylvia, Sandra Jennings, Pari, a bunch of other people are doing the good news week of good news or whatever. Jess Cravens has her Monday extra extra. So there is some of it, but in terms of happening daily and being keeping up with the world, I think I'm kind of alone in that. And I wish I wasn't. I wish other people wanted to push that. I wish there was a push to not just post bad news and to, because that doesn't help anyone. I mean, yes, I care that this thing didn't work, but what's the call to action? What's the thing that we can do to make it better? Are you just telling us the world is over? Goodbye. That doesn't help anyone. And so I try to be the antithesis of that.
I feel like there is, when we look online, especially, there's that mix of, well, if you post something positive, then you're putting your head down and ignoring what's going on in the world. So I know I've been making a point, especially in the past week, of I'm going to share with you the joy moments that, yes, I turned off my phone and I threw a party. And yes, I went and I danced for literally 2.5 minutes. And that's what it was. But it didn't take away from, I still know what's going on in the world and I'm still participating. But we have to not only reward ourselves, but really be in that moment of, you still got to be joyful, have fun. And that's what's going to carry us through all of the doom and the gloom and getting through it.
And I get accused of toxic positivity frequently, but then my followers will fight back on that and be like, but what they say isn't fully positive. Like I say a win, but then I explain, well, it's a win for right now. We don't know what's going to come next. We know that these three things are coming down the pipeline. It could become a loss, but for now it's a win. And it matters that for now it's a win because every little bit we can slow them down matters. And so I never come at things from a place of Pollyanna. I'm never thinking this is the best thing ever and this win tells us the world is okay. I'm rather coming from it from a place of the more we can slow them down, the more we have these wins, the weaker they are. And so each single one, no matter how tiny, no matter how confusing, no matter how iffy a win it is, it's still a win. So like in today I'm posting about the driver's license gender markers in Kansas, which right as of October 6th, they can now change their gender markers again, the first time in 2 years. But the Republicans are now going to try and put it in the legislature in a special session to try and get rid of it.
Of
Now, there's
course.
a Democrat and the governor that's a governor. The governor is Laura Kelly. She's a Democrat. So will they be able to get this special session? It's up in the air. They might try to do something that's completely illegal to get it. The chance that they get it in any legal way is very unlikely because she, I believe, has final say in if there's a special session or not. I know that they can petition her, and I think they have to follow her petition answer. I think I'm unclear on that, but so it's a win, and it's a win especially because people are getting their license right now as we speak. But it's not what someone would consider this is a win. It's a partial win, but that partial win matters because people are able to get them right now because of how the Supreme Court ruled, because. So each little piece of the win plays a role in a bigger win, the bigger win being we're fighting back. And every little bit that we're fighting back has an impact, no matter how small it is, no matter how partial it is, no matter how anything. And so I think part of the reason that I'm able to do this in the way I am is that I'm not saying the world is perfect. I'm not saying we're in good shape. I'm not saying we've succeeded. I'm saying I'm as I said, it's from a place of hope. It's not from a place of perfection or of we're done.
And every little win amounts to something bigger. It shows the possibility of what could be by like, the fact that you can change your gender marker now. We got to this point that you can change it. Whether
Yeah.
it will last, we'll see, but it doesn't mean that it can't go back if it does change
And there are hundreds
because
of
they made
people
it
who have changed
happen.
it now. Like even if this lasts for 2 weeks, people were able to change it, and that matters. And it also gives people like this is what could be.
Mhm.
And that's always important to see what could be.
Something I really admire about you, in addition to all of this, though, is your knowledge of so many politicians, whether we're talking about the ones in California, just in our exchange alone, you've introduced me to so many different congressional people that I'm like, who? Oh, let me go look this person up. Oh, this is fantastic. And I've been sharing content with other people. I'm like, have you seen the one with Representative Lou, where looking in the tiny, I love the ferry what's door,
Yeah.
where he's like, do you think the Republicans are in here? I was like, this is hilarious. And I'm sharing that. I'm like, I'm in awe of all of the different ones that you're able to pay attention to, because there are so many different representatives in our country. The fact that most Americans don't know their own representatives, but then to ask of them to even name some outside of their city, their county, their state,
Yeah.
yeah, good luck. Uh, so, I mean, the fact that I had a picture with Cory Booker and I sent it to family and friends, and one very close family member goes, "Who's that guy?" I was like, "Oh my God, please, we cannot be blood related." So I think it'll be my Christmas card. Uh, but it's amazing how you know these people, not just know them by name of like who they are, where they represent, but you actually know them too, and that is awesome. I fangirl over that.
The trick for me, so I spent a lot of my childhood in fandoms and doing research into celebrities and TV shows I cared about. And so I've taken that research skill and put it into the political world. And so I don't just look up someone like, oh, I'm going to look up them once and whatever. I make sure I follow them on every platform, on every account, because members of Congress have campaign accounts and government accounts, and you have to follow both to
Please
understand.
explain that, because that's something that many people don't know. And
Yeah,
even today, I was like, I haven't seen this post. And I went, ah, shit. I was following one account, but not the other
right.
account.
So the government accounts are allowed to you basically, there are two different accounts. They have to be either run by two different people or in two different places. You cannot open a campaign account in the under the Capitol dome. You cannot open it in the Capitol building. It has to be in a separate building. Um, and you can't talk about campaign issues, whether it's about your own campaign or any campaign on your government account. So, like, the reason if you're only following California Democrats on their government account, you are never going to see them talk about Prop 50. If you're following them on their campaign account, that's all you're going to see them talking about. And so people don't understand. Like, there are some members that mostly are on their campaign account. Robert Garcia is a really good example. He spends more time on his campaign account because on your campaign account, you can post about government things. So he uses the campaign account more. Maxwell Frost was mostly using the campaign account until pretty recently. Um, and those are the first two that come to mind when I say that. But there are so
And
many other
hopefully
examples.
everyone listening knows who they are.
I hope so. I mean,
I
one of
hope
them is
so. I
like
can,
one of the highest
their
ranking
faces pop
Democrat.
up in my head. So
Robert Garcia is the ranking member on the Oversight Committee, and Maxwell Frost is the youngest member of Congress, and doing incredible work. And so they have used their campaign accounts more than their government accounts, but then there are members that use their government accounts more than their campaign accounts, and that becomes a problem because if you're mostly using your government account, or if you only have a government account, there are a lot of members who are in safe seats who have never needed to campaign, so they don't have campaign accounts. And so they can't talk about anything campaign related. They can't talk about when they're canvassing. They can't talk about when they're meeting with constituents in an election capacity. They can't talk about when they're supporting someone. So you see, and they can't, there's this professionalism that's on the government account that's not on the campaign account. And so when people are like, oh, this person doesn't care, I'm like, yeah, that's because you're following only their campaign account. I'm trying to think of a good example. I think my favorite example is Mark Takano. He is the ranking member, I believe, on the Veterans Affairs Committee. I could be wrong about that. But he's the chair of the Equality Caucus, and he uses his campaign account for stories. He was a history teacher, and so he basically gives history lessons on his campaign account, whether about his own life or about the world. So he talked about his story growing up as an Asian gay man and how he ran for office in the 90s and he couldn't, he got attacked with attack ads calling him gay. And so he ended up waiting a long time before running for office again, but he ran when he was like in his 20s, I think. And so he tells all these stories. No one knows this account exists. He's fantastic at telling these stories. No one knows the account exists. And so that there's something about only following one account that you really miss out on what's going on. And not with everyone. There are some people who use their campaign account to post a photo and leave. But there are a lot of members that use it. The best member I know who uses both so evenly is Mike Levin. And I'm actually like best friends with his campaign digital director. And so she runs the campaign account and has nothing to do with the government account. And they're very separate, but they're all both very detailed and very involved and you can't follow one without the other. You have to follow both if you want to get the full picture. So it's hard to say that no one's doing anything. I'm like, well, are you following both accounts of all members? Lauren Underwood's another one that uses both accounts a lot. Robin Kelly is another one who uses both accounts really well. And then there are some members who are fudging the rules a little bit and do a little bit of campaign stuff on their government because they just don't have the staff. They have one person running the government account. They do not have someone else to run the campaign account. And they're not going to be able to pay the person enough to be able to run both accounts. I also have a friend who is running both accounts, and she literally has to run away from the Capitol to post on the campaign account. Like, she cannot post in the Capitol grounds. And that makes it exhausting because you have to post on both accounts every day. So that's the story of the campaign versus government account. You have to follow both of them. If you don't, you're only getting half the story. And that story is probably not going to be what you need to feel like you are being seen by your representative.
I feel like you probably just blew a ton of minds right now.
Probably.
I love this. I love it.
Oh, and they can't talk about their campaign account on the government account. They can't acknowledge it exists. So they can't say, go follow me there. It doesn't exist. They can only talk about government on government. They can talk about campaign. They can talk about campaign only on campaign. They can talk about government on campaign, but most people aren't following the campaign account. So it wouldn't matter if they said, go follow me on my government account if they're on their campaign account.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
The rules are there for a reason. We get it. But
I mean, we get the Hatch Act more now than we ever have before.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that also has to do with money. When members are doing something that they would post on their government account, yes, they have a salary for that. When members are doing something that they would post on their campaign account, no, they don't. They can't use those funds for the campaign stuff. So if you're asking, why aren't they doing this town hall? Well, they don't have the money for it. How do they not have the money for it? They don't. You can't cross that money. There are specific things you can use money that was given to you by the government for, not campaign. You can't cross those. So the reason when people say, oh, I'm not donating to this person, I'm like, well, then they aren't going to do the 12 things you want them to do. They don't have the funds to do it.
It all comes down to money.
Always.
Oh my goodness. Where can everyone find you and follow you and get all of the good news that we need every day?
I mean, you can find me pretty much everywhere except Twitter. I won't go back there, but I'm everywhere else. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Blue Sky. I'm on Substack. I'm on Threads. You can even find me in the Reddit r/VoteDem subreddit. That is the only place on Reddit that I ever spend time. But I think that's how I got out of my doomerism and with it from the election because I was not in a good place, and I found that subreddit and it changed everything for me.
I'm going to have to check that out.
So it's amazing. So yeah, those are the places you can follow me. Oh, and YouTube. I'm also on YouTube. I'm everywhere except
amazing
Twitter.
Thank you. Thank you for being the good news in every day. I appreciate you. Okay, friends, your homework after listening to this conversation is to not only follow Ariella, but to also follow both accounts of your representatives, the campaign one and the government one. So that way you're getting a well-rounded view of everything they're talking about and what's going on in their world. I want you also to focus on the good news. Yes, there's so much doom and gloom. There's chaos. We're looking this way and that way like it's a tennis match. But there is good news happening, and we need to recognize it and celebrate it. And Ariella is doing a fantastic job with that. So please, let's go beyond the campaign and find that good news.